You're raising a child with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that.
When he was born, we didn't know.
Okay.
The first thing that the nurse told us was, "You didn't know? You can have aborted."
The first instinct is to terminate the baby.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I thought that, again, our life is over. I went to the toilet, I started crying, and I became a father when I was 20.
Approximately 1 in 1,000 births, there's going to be a child with Down syndrome.
Yeah. Okay, so when he was born, I remember I was in the hospital and I saw his face, and I was in shock. I couldn't understand, and I was very ignorant about what Down syndrome is. And I saw Mariana's face very disappointed at me because I was rejecting our child,
Welcome to the Tarrants.
Do you say Bresky before?
No, they have this.
No, man. No, thank you for this. I think I told you that it's a great idea to have this podcast to encourage fathers, because I think it's a very underrated topic right now, especially in this generation, that people they don't want to have kids.
It's a strange feeling when people choose like they don't have kids. Like, what else do you want to have?
It's a challenge that brings a lot of happy moments and things that you need to work on in your life, and it's also a mirror because sometimes you see yourself in your child and you start recreating what you received when you were a child, and that's where becoming a father, it's challenging as well.
When I spoke with Lauren a few weeks ago, one of the things he said was that it's not always going to be fun. So I asked him point blank, do you ever feel like your life would have been a lot easier without kids? And he said, yes. My life would of course be easier without my kids, but my life would not be rich as it is without my kids. So yes, it is not a stress-free job, but it is a very fulfilling job, So Daddy, tell me about yourself. Where you from, and your journey as a father.
I'm Daniel Isaza. I'm from Colombia. I became a father when I was 20 in the UK, in London. That's where I met my wife. That's where my children were born.
At age 20, that's fairly young.
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges you face at the initial stages of being a father?
So that was in 2015. I was very immature, very insecure. I had this baggage of not having a father figure. I knew how to change diapers because, I did it with my brother. I did it with my sister. My parents were not together ever.
Okay.
So I had this experience of how to take care of a baby, which helped me with my first child. But as being a dad and having this maturity, that I struggle a lot with my first child. I'm struggling less now, but I'm also struggling now.
We all are.
Yeah.
Right now we struggle less because we've developed systems to make it a lot easier. Plus the kids are growing, so it's easier to communicate with them, know exactly what's wrong with them, and then you are more adaptable to fixing their problem. Then again, we are all more matured now than when we first became fathers.
Yeah.
So that also helps. But one of the things that people struggle with when they first become fathers is loneliness. What was your experience with loneliness when you first had a child?
So I transitioned from my teenage period
Yeah.
to becoming a father right away. And I was working part time, studying at the same time. Had my wife, um, and a baby, you know. So as you say, it's not that you don't have people around, but it's you. I feel lonely. It's like now you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it yourself. You need to manage how to take care of your, your family, and also talking about finances.
Yep.
It was difficult.
Struggle.
Yeah. So in that sense, I felt lonely. Um, I was working in three different jobs
Right.
and also studying at the same time and trying to pay rent. And in London, it's very normal for you to rent a room. Also here, right? But with a family, like it's impossible. You can't. So you need to find a house or a studio. Um, Luckily, we had the help from my mother-in-law, which helped us quite a lot. Also, my father-in-law, um, that really supported us on that period of time. In the emotional side, there was this family of friends, Michelle and Priscilla, that really guide us through this season in the Word of God, being that spiritual, emotional, and physical support, which is very important. They were there when my first child were born. That was a blessing. Yeah.
And on the podcast, something we do is every last father gets to ask the next father a question. So before we go into the real crux of today's conversation, I want to ask you the question that the last father asked. And that's fine. So he said, I'm interested in hearing how fathers can balance time for kids and the responsibilities of work, especially when you have multiple jobs.
If you see the priority of being this presence father at the top, you can find, if you can try to find out a way to be more with your child. I think it's and it's tough because in my experience, I was working in a bar, in a international Korea company, in a coffee shop.
Wow.
And then the pandemic started, and these um, jobs closed. These shops closed. I started to think, what if I can find something that I can do from home and take care of my kids and be with my family?
Like,
That's where I started studying about digital marketing, social media content. Um, I saw an opportunity of a friend looking for a person that can take care of their Instagram content. I was like, hey, like I can do it. So that really helped me. So
yeah, because even when you're spending time with your kids, if you don't have finances, you're still not at peace.
yeah, exactly.
The kids might be enjoying your presence, but you're not enjoying yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're thinking bills, you're thinking, what if they ask for a new toy? What if they ask for a new bicycle? What if they ask for a new skateboard? What if they ask for this?
No, but I think about that. If the bills are paid, if the rent is paid and you have food on the table. If that's done,
Yep.
a bicycle, a motorcycle, skateboard is less important than you spending having this quality time with your kid.
Okay.
That will be more um, appreciated in the long term
Long term.
by your child. This week I was cooking and Mateo was like, "Oh, Daddy, I really love, the things that you cook, and I really love the chicken, the baoban, the patacon that you made." So I think it's really hard and challenging,
Mhm.
but if the rent is paid and all the priorities, bills and
Are sorted.
are sorted, I think I suggest that you prioritize the time with your family.
Are you comfortable talking about Leo?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk Leo. You're raising a child with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that.
When he was born, we didn't know.
Okay.
So where do I start? Okay, so when he was born, I remember I was in the hospital and I saw his face, and I was in shock. I couldn't understand, and I was very ignorant about what Down syndrome is. Um, I thought that again, our life is over. Um, I regret not cutting his umbilical cord because I went to the toilet, I started crying, um, and I saw Mariana's face very disappointed at me, because I was rejecting our child. She, with her mom instincts, she was like, no, like, let me hold him, let me. So I went home, and Mariana and Leo stayed. I cried the whole night. I spoke with my father, and we had a good conversation, and he helped me to let it all out. But then with time, like, the first thing that the nurse told us was, "Oh no, you didn't know? You can have aborted." So that was the first thing that the nurse told us. Just imagine, like,
The first instinct is to terminate the baby.
yeah. And you could do it in the UK. It's legal to 8 months, 7 months, and pregnant. You have the choice.
That's wild.
Yeah. For some reason, Mariana didn't want to know. We had 3 opportunities in the pregnancy to know if he had any problems. Twice in the UK, they asked, like, is everything okay? Do you want to know if he has any problems? And Mariana, no. In Medellin, bro, this is crazy. We traveled to Medellin when she was 8 months.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, bro. 8 months, and we traveled to Medellin, and we traveled the whole country with Mariana 8 months, and I don't understand until now how the airlines
Allowed it.
allow it.
Yeah, because that's another thing. Traveling by train or by road is a different conversation. But
Yeah.
airlines, 8 months, they're not letting you get bored.
No, my wife is crazy, man. It's crazy. But we had a good time. But then in Medellin, we went to a doctor, and we did this, how do you say?
Ultrasound?
Oh, yeah. And I remember the doctor asking us, "Is everything okay with the baby?" And Mariano and me, "Yeah, why?" And he was like, "No, no, okay." I don't know if this is a professional thing to do, because we paid. It was a private.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have, you know, told us, hey, I think he has Down syndrome, and I'm glad he didn't. You know, um, not because we were going to abort it like straight away, but I think because of the UK system, I think this could have influence to maybe make this choice. Um, but now I see Leo, man, as like it brings us so much happiness.
Right.
He's our he's like a mentor to us, and he's like the happy and the joy ingredients in our family now.
Wow. In the African context, there are usually very demeaning, disrespectful, even insulting ways of describing people with disabilities.
Yeah.
I've seen parents who take out their frustration on their kids as though it is a child's fault. So it is very uplifting to my spirit to hear that Leo is the joy bringer of the family. But I'm also not going to pretend as though raising a special needs child is a walk in the park. Raising any child is not a walk in the park, but it has an extra layer of complication when the child, has the developmental challenge. So can you talk to me about some of the challenges that you faced the last 5 years?
I'm glad he was the third child, because otherwise it would be harder for us.
Okay.
I don't see it in that way. Like that he's a that's really hard to have Leo. And it's not that I'm trying to be the tough guy. Like it's
Right.
of course we worried about him in the future of not being
Fully integrated society.
yeah, exactly. We worry about that. And luckily we have this community, the school. It's been amazing to him. Yeah, he's going to a Waldorf school, alternative educational systems.
Right.
Um, and the people there love him, and the maestras, and they're very, warm, and the kids, every time Leo arrives, they want a kiss and a hug from him.
Right.
So, and I know that this could be another. This could have been another experience in another school. I know, because you can see in the that he's different.
Obviously.
Um, and we also have the support of Maya and Mateo, which are the older siblings. Um, there are a few things that we need to do, and I feel like it's not hard. It's not that hard for me, that hard, exaggerated, because I have the opportunity to be home, also helping my wife, and so we're a team. We're like
The tattoo.
an army with him, and all the attention is to him at this moment, because he's the vulnerable person in the family.
And then he's also the youngest. So
Yeah, exactly. And he's very spoiled. Yeah. Yeah. And he knows that, that all the attention goes to him. So maybe that's gonna change. Maybe it's gonna get harder um when he grows up. I don't know. But right now I think it feels, you know.
the riskiest part of every business is the first 5 years. And it is not only applicable to businesses, it is also applicable to life generally. So the first 5 years of a child's life is very critical. And then Leo is lucky that he's born into a family that one, gets a present. Secondly, he's lucky to have siblings who understand him.
Yeah.
You cannot begin to imagine the kind of rivalry that some siblings put forward when attention isn't on them 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So he's lucky in that regard as well. I was looking up some statistics earlier. So apparently, globally, approximately 1 in 1,000 births, there's going to be a child with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So that's all the things that you as a parent are doing to make sure that in the future he's more integrated.
First, that he feels that he's loved and accepted at home. So we are building his confidence, and he's very confident, man. He's very confident. So I think we're doing that right. At school, I think in the public school there is a expectation that a child needs to have in each grade.
Yep.
In this school, children do children stuff. They play, Of course, they have a routine that they, they come, they wash their hands, then they dance, they play. But it's not like a free do whatever you want. No,
There's order.
there's order. And older kids take care of the youngest kids.
Oh, and that teaches responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
So Mateo was with Leo. Mateo was 6 last year, and Leo was 4 or 5. And Mateo now is going to another grade, and Leo is gonna stay. Now Leo will be the older. So he will have this opportunity to help the younger. So that would be I'm excited for that, because, and also we are blessed of the teachers that they have, because they're they're like these warm Italian nannies, no nannies, Italian grandmothers. Man, they're so sweet, and they do the job. They don't see that it's like a job and I want to get paid. They actually genuinely love these kids, so we're blessed.
How were you able to transit from how you felt at the hospital to how you feel now? How was that journey?
I have to give all the credit to Mariana.
Okay.
Mariana was the one that really stood and, hey, let's do something about it. Let's learn more about Down syndrome. I started to feel this regret of, come on, man, like, what was I feeling, like this, rejection, and I used to see him in the crib, and I felt so much. This is my son,
Right.
We tried to learn through the UK educational system about Down syndrome. Man, it's a first country, but they're very ignorant about it, And then Mariana started to look in Brazil, and there was this lady in Sao Paulo that was really good, and we booked an appointment with her, a meeting with her. And in the UK, they were saying, no, they have to go to a specific school because they have these problems. All problems for, And then this lady in Brazil is like, no, they can't do anything. If you start now helping him to with exercises and
Live your normal life.
yeah, but if you start now as a newborn, he will have a good life. They can drive, they can have a job, they can get married, they can have kids. So that was like, oh, nice. Like, there's like a light in the tunnel. Um, so then Mariana did great, and I'm really really grateful for her position. Um, but then this thing changed. I started to be more helpful. I think Mariana will agree to this. I think we bond. Me and Leo, we're buddies.
Just because you've lived through this experience, someone watching is going to receive the courage to live through it as well.
Oh, I hope.
No, you don't have to hope. The thing is, the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so does the man the countenance of his brother. There are people who receive impetus, the courage and the grace to go through life because someone else did. I am happily married today because I saw a happy marriage. So the same way you're able to deal with this chapter of your life, it's going to give someone else courage to go through theirs as well.
Exactly.
So if a father is watching right now who's dealing with a child either on the autistic spectrum or Down syndrome, like in your particular case, what word of confidence or what word of advice would you give that person right now?
There's hope for this child, and that your life is not over, that this child has potential to live a good life, that to have patience in the process, to enjoy every moment. If this person has a partner, that they can be united in this, that this could be a how do you say motivo, motive to stay together, to fight together. You were talking about marriage. Mariana helped me a lot talking about Leo. Um, to have this person next to you and encouraging, and not all the time encouraging, but sometimes confronting me and say, "Hey, sit up. Come on, you need to improve this." And maybe not in a good way, maybe in a bad way. But
It is what it is.
yeah.
Because, see, sorry to cut it short. Sometimes we have a tendency of assuming that we're doing the right thing. But you sometimes need a third party to see you for what it is. And like, listen, my man, no, you're not doing properly.
Yeah.
Do better. And then sometimes our emotions will not like it. I would rather have a partner that is able to call out my BS straight up, as opposed to have a partner that has to try to say it in the night. Sometimes we need to be pulled out from our foolishness. So I understand. I mean, I'm married to a very wonderful woman as well. I'm sure she will see this part of the episode. Baby, I love you, but still, you and your dad know what we're talking about. More kisses. So, my man, I hear you. Marriage has a way of helping you go through seasons that you didn't believe you'd be able to go through on your own. And I think that's the idea of it. Two of you against versus the world.
Yeah. And also I was talking with a friend saying, no, but if something happened with your marriage, you like the children, they're not responsible of that. You can be this great father. And it's okay, it's true. But you could do it better if you have the team. Um and the Bible starts with marriage and ends with marriage. Started with Adam and Eve and will end with Christ coming back for her bride. So I think it's all about marriage. Um, Also, it's a very underrated topic right now.
as we begin to bring this conversation to an end, there's something I want us to talk about: exhaustion and resentment.
Mm.
Like I said earlier, no child is raising any child is not a walk in the park. And one of the things that comes up as a consequence of the hyperactive kids we have these days is the parents are always tired. And the exhaustion shows up in, at least in my own instance, in my own case. Sometimes I just burst out in anger. Just, kids, be quiet. I need some peace and quiet in this house because I'm tired.
Mm.
I'm exhausted. And these kids have energy.
Oh
Their
yeah.
energy seems unlimited, and mine is very limited. How do you deal with exhaustion in your home?
Every time I feel this way, I'm exactly as you described it. Of um this, all this stress that we go through as a father, as a man, or if we see all these problems and financial problems, marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sometimes the kids absorb all these things from us. And talking about anger and not having self control sometimes, and we shout. And growing up with my mother, she was always angry. She was always explode for a reason. Um, a clock dropped on the floor. It was my fault, and she was, "Pop, hey, why are you doing that?" And I was always like, "Oh, you know." And then when I became a father, I had the same pattern that my mom had. You know, um, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing about kids being this energetic and you're trying to do something and you can concentrate, or you um transferring all this anger to them. I mean, there's two
Yeah,
different things.
it is simply because the exhaustion shows up in different ways.
Mm,
Some persons, like I said, in my own case, when we get almost to, you know, breaking point, just, so I was asking specifically, how are you handling that?
right now, if talking about the biblical, um the resource that we have, the Bible, if we are more in him, um the fruits of the spirits, that slow to anger, patient, it helps. But if we're not looking and searching, um the bad thing will come out, all that we have. um so I think searching the Lord, it helps. And also having this communication, if things are difficult with your wife or with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
postponing that conversation. Let's say we're in the living room and we started to get
Said,
heated. One of us needs to be the one that, okay, we're not doing this now. The kids are around.
yeah.
Let's do this when they later. um I think this also helps.
So communication.
Yeah.
How about hanging up with your friends to decompress?
To vent. Yeah, venting. Yeah, it's also a good thing. Yeah, but then they will not do the job for you, but it will help.
It helps us.
It helps for sure. Um, it helps you to feel that you're not alone. That you know we also that they also have problems, and but but then you will be back home.
For me personally, one of the things that I'm happy that I can do is I can vent.
Yeah.
It almost like it ventilates your mind. It makes you feel lighter, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is not supposed to help you solve the problem, but it puts you in a better mind frame so that by the time you are facing the problem, you're not facing it with the weight of how you felt. You are now more attentive. You hear what she's actually saying, not filtering what she's saying through how you're feeling, you know. So that has been my own way of decompressing. So broski, as we end this episode, if someone is watching this episode at this point of the video, what would you want them to take home from this conversation?
Be resilient with your marriage. Trust the Lord in the difficult moments, in the storms. Be more present if you have the opportunity with your kids. It's not about material things that's gonna fulfill happiness and memories to them. It's about quality time and being that role model as a dad and as a husband, and they come together.
Right.
I think I told you this verse that I really like. The in Proverbs, it's a Proverbs that says, "The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but only God
Give victory.
gives victory."
Right.
So we do our part, but we know that the Lord is providing and He will bring victory to us.
Amen. Broski, thank you for doing this, man.
Thank you, brother.